Maintenance is the work that we do. We're service technicians, and we want to provide 5-star service every single time. If you guys are service technicians, you're not maintenance technicians. You provide a service, and maintenance is the work that you do. We're expecting guys to do HVAC, electrical, plumbing, grounds, all sort of things, and that's a lot. If you go to a trade school, you learn plumbing, or you do electrical, or you do HVAC. Apartment maintenance, you do it all. That is an issue for guys that are coming into the industry that I see.
Jesse, I'm excited to have you on today, sir.
I'm excited.
Very excited. Welcome. I'd like to start by asking you about your journey. How did you start? How did you start in multifamily?
It's kind of untraditional. I knew a guy from church. I had recently actually made a LinkedIn post about this. I didn't know what I wanted to do at my life at the time. I think it was back in 2019, kind of around the summer of 2019. I had gone to college to be a teacher. I decided not to do that. Then I had started going into the police force, training for that. Then COVID hit, and they had put a stop to some of the hiring. So I needed a job at the time, and a guy I knew from church, he said he needed some help, and I told him, hey, I don't know anything about maintenance, literally nothing. I didn't even know what a pair of pliers were, and it's funny looking back on that. But he took me on, and there was 2 of us that were techs, and then he was the supervisor. And I remember the first day I went with this tech, and he knew everything. I mean, this guy, he has his own HVAC company, and he was doing some side work for us, so I tagged along with him. And he told me to handle the impact driver, and I didn't even know what an impact driver was. So it was kind of untraditional how I got into it. But once I started learning and I started liking it, I really didn't like it at first because I really didn't know what I was doing. And it was kind of stressful keeping up with things and trying to learn plumbing, electrical, HVAC, all that stuff that you have to learn. But I stayed true to it, and he helped me out along the way. It's kind of brought me to where I'm at today. I just recently got promoted to Regional Maintenance Supervisor in my area. So to look back on where I came from and where I'm at now is incredible. And I wouldn't have ever thought it would have led to this, honestly.
There's a lot to unpack here. I'm going to start by asking, have you started as a technician? Have you been hired as technician, or like a lower, more entry-level, like groundskeeper position? How did you start?
It was like entry-level technician. We never had anything like the groundskeeper. And when I had started, we were we worked at a small family-owned company before my current company purchased that property. So it's completely different from the family-owned to the corporate type of way things are ran. So that was actually an obstacle too, kind of when we got purchased, and kind of learn the way that they did things as well. But yeah, it was just an entry-level technician. He knew I didn't know a whole lot, but he believed in me.
Yeah, that's super important. What was your first promotion? When did you move from like entry-level technician to the next step?
So my first promotion was maintenance supervisor of that property that I started at. My supervisor, his name was Bruce, he had retired. He had been there for like 22, 23 years. So he retired, and they promoted me. And by that time, I already had right around a year and a half of experience. I had learned very quickly. And then I just took off from there. After that, I was promoted to a multi-site supervisor of one of the other communities that was in the area that we had. And my role has kind of changed a little bit as I've transitioned around with the company. I've moved a few places here and there with them. So the role has changed a little bit throughout wherever I'm at.
What was one thing that you thought different about as far as being service manager than it actually was, that you learned that it wasn't so when you first started as a service manager?
The dealing with the interpersonal problems with some of the employees was a whole lot different. When you're just a maintenance tech, you don't have to deal with those things. The other side of it, you have to deal with the people, to deal with the problems. Everyone comes to you. That's really different, and you have to be prepared for everything that comes at you, and make sure that you're doing everything right. So that was a lot different for me, transitioning from the tech side to the supervisor service manager side.
So I'm super curious about the story where you got promoted to regional service manager, because that's a whole different ball game.
For
Well, no,
sure, for sure.
first of all, let's go to where you became multi-site, because there's added complexity from like a single. How many sites have you started overseeing? From one, did you go to two first?
Yeah, so I went from, when I was just regular supervisor, we went from just one. And then when I got multi-site, it was two. That totaled a little bit over 500 units. I think it was like 515. Both properties were 5-10 minutes apart from each other. We had a team of me and then three other guys. And then going to the regional role now, it's 12 properties and 800 and so units. So that's a huge increase. A lot more people. I think we have 6 or 7 of us underneath me, and managing them day to day and keeping everybody on board, has been interesting so far. Having that larger role and working directly more with the regional side of the office has been new to me as well. So I'm only in my third or fourth week, but I love it so far. I really do.
What are some things that you thought about when thinking regional service manager that you're learning to be different now that you're doing it?
Taking the larger jobs and managing people. I think the managing people part is one of the most hardest things to do in this role. Keeping the guys on board and making sure that I set expectations, because they've known me, but having to set those expectations and them see me in a different role, you got to start that from day one. As long as they know the expectations that I expect of them and the service that we want to provide to the residents, the 5-star service, setting that stuff early on and letting them know that that's the way that we want to operate.
And now a word from Dean Fungawing, founder and CEO, Kairos.
I can tell you I've had clients that prior to installing our technology had 7-figure losses, 6-figure losses. They install our tech, nothing, literally nothing. It's like drops off. And their insurance companies are calling us going, how are you doing this? Right? I'm like, well, it just works. And we work with the customer. So we don't just throw in tech like a solution grenade and then walk off. You actually have to have this sort of white glove approach to helping re-educate, on board. There's this change management that's happening, right? Staying on top of that. You really have to keep following up. And this kind of comes from my customer service side of being in a service-driven business. It's like, yeah, tech is great, but serve the customer.
How do you manage overseeing, multiple sites, multiple teams, and then handle this pressure to deliver results for all of them at the same
Yes.
time, while being supportive for your team?
Yes. So first and foremost is to be positive, and like I said, set those expectations from day one so that they know what I expect of them. If I don't set those expectations and they do what they want, and then you come to talk to them about things, they're not going to understand. So setting the expectations first and foremost. Try not to get too involved in their day-to-day tasks as much as like with them working with their managers on the make readies that need to be done and things like that. They know that I'm around if they have questions. I'm on vacation right now and I still have my phone open. I had a couple guys call me earlier. I told them to, I don't mind if you call me, but setting the expectations first and making sure that I'm around to help them, making sure they have the supplies that they need, and being there when they need extra help, I think is really important to them.
Jesse, what are the hardest leadership lessons you've learned managing multiple teams across multiple locations?
Everyone is different that you manage, the different personalities, the different way that some guys do something different than another. And then maybe also trusting people at first, because in the end, a lot of it does fall back on you. But at the same time, you have to trust your technicians. You have to let them do what they need to do and try not to micromanage them. But kind of dealing with everyone and how different they react to things, for me on the leadership side, has always been one thing that I can improve on. Just because I have a title change now doesn't mean that I won't go and go get my hands dirty, go do some of the things they're doing, and having that respect for them.
What would you say is your main operational challenge that you're facing this year?
Aging communities, aging properties, aging plumbing systems, HVAC systems. Repairing those versus replacing them can a lot of times sometimes be very difficult when budgets are tight and you're trying to satisfy the resident. But at the same time, there's going to be times where, repair in a certain situation is not, and managing those tight budgets that we do have sometimes has been a big issue just throughout my maintenance career. Working with a smaller company and having those tight budgets, and also trying to provide that good service that we want to provide, that has been an obstacle. And then obviously the hiring process. We're looking for a maintenance technician right now. Being able to find someone that can take the spot has been difficult as well.
What are the top reasons why it's difficult? What would you say is difficult?
Obviously, I think everyone's going to say the compensation, the pay of the position. And at the end of the day, that is the most important to all of us because it's how we live. Like the respect that we have for the position, or that the general public has, needs to be better. We're professionals in what we do. And, I took a CAMT course, and my instructor said that, I always remember this. He said, you guys are service technicians. You're not maintenance technicians. You provide a service, and maintenance is the work that you do. And I thought that was great, and that stuck with me. Like, we provide a good service to the residents in our communities. Maintenance is just the work that we do. And I think that goes back to, most of us being called just a maintenance guy or the maintenance man. But we're professionals. The way that we carry ourselves is important. Not having the proper training for a lot of guys coming into the industry has been an obstacle on us hiring people. We're expecting guys to do HVAC, electrical, plumbing, grounds, all sort of things. And that's a lot. If you go to a trade school, you learn plumbing, or you do electrical, or you do HVAC. Apartment maintenance, you do it all. That is an issue for guys that are coming into the industry that I see. Our local apartment association, we actually do a service technician program. We can hire guys, and they go through the program, and they learn the multifamily industry, and they learn the basics of electrical and plumbing and HVAC. And then they go on to their interview. I mean, we're just now starting that. That's starting this year. So hopefully we can gain some good candidates out of that here in Indiana.
Tell me about your properties. What type of geographical area do they cover? Where are they located?
So we're in Lafayette, Indiana. It's kind of a college town. That's where Purdue is at. So many of our properties, we have a lot of Purdue students. And we're not student housing, but we do have a lot of students. It's kind of like I said, smaller, rural type of town. We have properties in West Lafayette and Lafayette, spread across both, 12 to be exact. Different ages, different types of systems in them, all so many different things from one property to another. Some are 50 years old, and some are only 15 years old. We have 2 brand new luxury properties, so we have a little bit of everything.
How do you manage the vendor part of things? How do you see, where do you see some great things? Are there some great things that you wanted to share here with the audience? Are there any opportunities when it comes to vendors management?
So managing the vendors, we have plenty of vendors that we use. I try to get different quotes and try to share that with my bosses to say, hey, this person's cheaper than this. How is their quality of work? Give them a shot. I was just last week meeting with my flooring rep, and we were thinking of different solutions to the problem that we were having in some of our apartments where the vinyl seam was coming up in this one area in all the apartments for some reason. Getting different prices and quotes from him, and we decided to do glue down planking, which was a better option in the long run than vinyl. So managing the vendors and keep staying on top of them, making sure that they're doing good quality work, and working more closely with them as my new role has been good so far.
Is centralization a real thing for multifamily or not so much? What's your take? Is your company attempting any level of centralization?
Like I said, we haven't tried anything yet to my knowledge, but I'm eager to see kind of where it goes and if it has its place in the industry or not.
And now a word from Sean Landsberg, co-founder, AppWork.
You mentioned feedback from the client. So typically, if I was to go with a big tech company and try to provide some feedback to improve their product, good luck with that. How does it work with AppWork?
Yeah, I think that was based off of some of our own experiences that we've had as a management organization, where we tried to work with some of the technology providers that we worked with and giving them feedback, and we kind of saw where that got us. And that was one of the things that when we launched AppWork, we wanted to help use to set ourselves apart, where we can really leverage the collective feedback from our clients and use that to better our product. Because who else are we building the product for, right?
What about the technology? What do you see in the industry as far as like maintenance related technology? And then I want to talk specifically about AI, but let's just take maintenance related technology. What are you seeing?
There's a lot of different apps out there now that I see that's other maintenance guys use. We have our mobile app for our system that we use, but I've seen a lot of people implement preventative maintenance on the technology side, different things like that may help the maintenance team in doing good service and making prompt repairs. We haven't really done anything with any of that yet. I've actually watched some of your past podcasts involving some of the AI stuff. It is interesting. It seems like it's getting bigger and bigger. I don't really have much experience with the AI side of it. I think it has its role in the industry. I do. And we have to keep up with technology evolving. So if that's what it's going to be, we all have to adapt to that.
If you were to design the perfect tech tool for your team tomorrow, what would it do? What would the functions be?
Being able to access probably a make-ready system, a service request system that's easier for the maintenance techs to use. Like I said, a preventative maintenance system on keeping up with our preventative maintenance programs, making sure that we're staying on top of those and meeting those guidelines, I think would be something that I would create, and probably using some of what we do now just on our basic system that we have, kind of expanding on that. I think is something that I would try. I know people that have created apps on their phone for certain things. Some of them have been successful, others haven't. But trying to keep the complexity of it down and making sure that the techs use it would be something that is important, not to overwhelm them.
What's your take on AI specifically? Like, let's just drill into AI. There's a lot that's happening in the world in general. What's your feeling about AI in general? How do you feel about it?
Like I said, I think it has its role. And if this is the future, if AI is the future, and all many different functions of life. We have to adapt to that. You see a lot of AI written articles now, and I think now if I go on Google on my phone and type in a question, AI automatically comes up and kind of gives you a breakdown of what answers that you're looking for. I actually have an AI app on my phone where I can type in questions. It's almost like a search engine, and it'll respond to you right there, which is pretty neat. I don't use it a whole lot. I think AI has its place, and if it's here and if it's going to keep expanding like it is, we have to adapt to it.
What would you attribute your past success to in industry, starting as an entry level technician, moving up to full technician, service manager, now service regional service manager or regional maintenance director? What would you attribute this success to?
I had a really good support system that supported me along the way. Many good people here in my current company that have taught me how to be a professional and have taught me a lot of the hands-on side of the job. And then moving the way I've moved from different areas with the company, I've been able to learn different things, which has helped me be successful in where I'm at now. Without some of these people, I kind of wonder where I would be. And I think that I fell into a perfect position. And I understand that some people in the industry don't get that opportunity. So I'm always grateful for how I fell into the role that I fell into. And then also, putting in the work. I put in the work. I studied. I took courses. Stayed involved in the local apartment association. Took many of their courses. Took the KMT, the CPO, all that good stuff. And I've also taken leadership courses too, the soft side of things, not just technical. All of that has been a huge part of my success up to this point.
Who would you say had the most positive influence in your life and in your career?
So my past supervisor, Bruce, I always have to give him credit because he took me in, he gave me a chance. Without him, I probably wouldn't be here right now because at the time, like I said, I needed the job, and he took a chance on me, and giving him the credit for teaching me everything that he taught me in that year and a half before he retired. I also have to give credit to some of my current team that I have here right now. Karen Bursfield, she's a VP of employee engagement with our company. She's really taught me how to be a professional, helped me get through classes in our local apartment association. Then my regional maintenance director that's above me, Daryl, just all of them showing me different things, leading me to be successful. They've played a huge part in my success. And I recently thanked them in my LinkedIn post because I felt that it was needed, that they needed to hear that, to kind of see that I do appreciate everything that they've done for me in my career.
If you were to have a seat at the table with a C-suite, with executives of a major multifamily company, what's the one thing that you'll push them to fix immediately?
The hiring process, understanding the need for maintenance. And I know that might be like a blunt answer. It's hard for us to find somebody that has all these experiences that they need to have to do this job. And implementing like a service technician program or like an internship, some type of thing like that to help us in the hiring process. The cost of it, it's going to cost some money to do that. In the long run, we get to know the people that we're hiring. We get to teach them in the process and for them to be a part of our team. And I'm sure there's other major things like operational efficiencies, human resources, making sure we have a good human resource department in our company. There's so many things that I think I would tell them if I had a seat. But yeah, those would be some of the few.
When it's all said and done for you, and it's time for you to look back, how do you think about your legacy? What would you like it to be like?
So my goal, I want to keep growing. I want to keep moving up and keep putting in the work every day and learn more every day. I've always told them to don't let me become stagnant. I don't want to become stagnant. I want to keep taking courses and learning new things. And I've been able to do that in the 5 years that I've been doing this. And it's crazy to think that it's only been 5 years. I want to be known too for the way that I treated people, the service that I provided to the residents, to the communities, to the company. I always strive for 5-star service, and that's what I teach the guys too as well. I've always been big on just treating people right. And now that, I go into someone's home to fix something, and they count on us to fix what they need fixed. And, a lot of the times these people are paying really good money for these apartments nowadays. And the better service that you can provide, the better long run it is, where you can, say, hey, this resident is renewing with us. They like the maintenance services. And maintenance is a big role in the renewal process. I've had countless residents over the years tell me that they're renewing because we provide great maintenance service and that we fix things promptly. That's what I teach the guys too, is to understand that we provide a service. Maintenance is the work that we do. We're service technicians, and we want to provide 5-star service every single time. There's going to be people that we come across that, as well as I do, you can't make them happy. You can't make everyone happy. But providing the 5-star service is a big thing for me. That and being kind and treating people right is kind of my legacy that I want to be remembered as, especially in this industry.
Hey, Jesse, it's been great having you on today. Amazing conversation.
Thank you.
I wish you the best of luck, and hope to get you back down the road to talk about some more great things that you have going on in your career.
Adrian, I appreciate it. This has been fun. I do appreciate it.
I'm Adrian Danila, your host. I want to thank our sponsors from Kairos and AppWork for making this broadcast possible. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you back here soon. Take care.
Thank you, Adrian.